Hi everyone, welcome to the Season 2 premiere of Divided Films, the podcast where we talk about movies that audiences and critics do not agree on. I am JJ, and with me always is my co-host Keith.
Hello!
It's good to be back, Keith.
I know, we actually have a Season 2 of something. I'm proud, I've never had a season of anything, let alone a Season 2. I'm so excited.
I know, it's very exciting, and we just could not wait to come back and record more. So we decided to kick off our second season big, with a guest that we've wanted for quite some time.
Quite a funny man.
Our good friend, comedian, sketch comedy writer, and history buff, Dan Conroy.
Oh, dang. Hey, guys.
Hey, Dan.
Good to have you here, Dan.
Guys,
I always said you were
you.
Season 2 material
That's-
for any show.
I'm the jump the shark material. When you got me, it's all over. No, it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much, guys.
Oh, yeah, we're very excited to have you here, Dan. And there was one specific movie in mind that we always knew we wanted to have you on for, and it's a movie that kind of goes way back with all of us. The 1998 blockbuster action epic, Armageddon.
You're being very kind by calling it an epic.
Am I allowed to curse on this?
By all means.
This fucking meatball of a movie. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
This movie gave me space dementia.
Oh, we will get into space dementia. So basically, Armageddon, 1998, directed by Michael Bay, starring an ensemble cast of Bruce Willis, Liv Tyler, Ben Affleck, Billy Bob Thornton, one of our favorites, Owen Wilson,
Steve Buscemi, Michael Clark Duncan, Peter Stormare, William it's a character actor, 90 character actor galore.
And that's one of its appeals, I would think, for audiences. Speaking of which, this movie falls into the category of a negative score with critics and a positive score with audiences. I don't think that's a surprise. I don't think that's a surprise for anyone. I think a lot of Michael Bay movies fall into that category.
These critics just didn't like roller coasters. That's why they didn't like this movie.
It's in Roger Ebert's most hated movies in 98.
Yeah, he gave it scathing reviews.
He has a great quote about this movie. Real quick, the critics' consensus about Armageddon on Rotten Tomatoes. Lovely to look at, but about as intelligent as the asteroid that serves as the movie's antagonist.
Dang!
Armageddon slickly sums up the cinematic legacies of producer Jerry Bruckheimer and director Michael Bay. That's kind of going easy on this movie, I would think.
Yeah, that was much kinder than some of the train wreck reviews that.
I noticed something. I have a few things to say. I don't want to be in this movie's corner, but when I was watching this movie for the first time, I had two thoughts. I'm like, oh, Keith David's in this? I had no idea on this rewatch he was in this, but he's perfect as the general.
Oh, God.
I like seeing Keith David pop up in things.
But my interpretation of this movie was if I sent my kid to summer camp for 16 weeks, it took 16 weeks to film this movie, and he came back and said, Dad, my friends and I made a movie. And I was like, oh, it's stupid. It's a stupid movie.
They would have written this movie, right? I mean, I don't know if they would have the money for all the effects.
But it looks like everyone's having fun. It crosses the point of, this is so dumb that I can't hate on it anymore. It's like watching a really stupid kid try to do groceries. It's just
What's also funny too is that in
what groceries?
No, it's just you're not rooting. You're watching this.
This kid just bought ice cream.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where and even in that same fashion, Michael Bay apologizes for it years later with the caramelization of time. He goes on to say in that same way, a kid who says his dog ate his homework. He says after the 16 weeks, he wanted to give the third act a better write and a better edit, but they quote unquote took the film out of his hands.
A better edit.
The third act is what makes this movie.
Oh, God.
I can agree, a better edit. The one sequence where one of the spaceships is, getting destroyed, I had no idea what was happening because of how, frantic it was and how many quick cuts there were. But anyways, half the movie is the third act, right? When they go into outer space, that's generous. I think that's this movie is 2.5 hours, And
I paused the movie going like, well, we should be about done, and there was an hour left.
I did the same thing. Right before Freedom and Independence are leaving, they come from Houston, right? So before they go from Houston, I said to myself, oh, I'm going to get a snack. Oh, but we're close to done, right? And I was like, motherfucker, we got another hour.
There was an hour left, because it looks like it's about to end. The music is playing, and I'm like, oh, wow.
This movie...
15 more minutes, and then,
Typically, the training sequence of a movie is like the middle.
Yeah.
Getting ready for the end. The training sequence ends at the halfway point. So, when the normal moviegoer is kind of thrown off, I would think, by just how they, like how much portion of the movie is dedicated just towards the climactic, mission they go on. But I think part of the reason why that outer space part is like half the movie is because they add that one sequence of the refueling. Right?
Yeah.
The refueling sequence makes me so mad because it adds like 25 minutes to the runtime, and it's not even what the movie's about.
Yeah.
Basically, someone told Michael Bay, oh, when spaceships go out into outer space, they need to stop at the refueling station. And Michael Bay said, could that explode?
And another thing too is that like I understand this whole movie is not meant to be like used in physics classes or anything involving astrophysics, but critics have gone on to say that particular scene with the refueling at the Russian space station is extremely unbelievable in every sense of the word. There's no way you can make gravity with that kind of rotation. Mm-hmm. It would be impossible to line up two ships while having that gravitational rotation match with the docking stations they would need to get refueled. Like, everything about it is the most ridiculous thing.
Exclamation, underline everything
I
about this movie.
I know.
This movie should not work.
This movie is aggressively anti-science. First of all, NASA is
pro-America.
I mean...
What's more pro-American than anti-science?
You know what the thing I don't want to miss a thing of is? Patriotism.
No, this movie is basically like, I'm proud to be an American, like, personified. And that's always been Michael Bay's mantra. But even Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck and Billy Bob Thornton, a lot of actors have said, like, I did this just for the money.
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi, like, Ben Affleck on the DVD commentary says, like, why would you get drillers to be astronauts instead of astronauts to be drillers? That's like, a famous example.
Yeah. So the very premise of this movie is something that everyone knows makes no sense. The very premise of this movie is when an asteroid is on a collision course with Earth, NASA's plan to stop that asteroid is to recruit drillers to become astronauts so they can drill to the center of the asteroid, plant a bomb so they can destroy it from the inside. But instead of training astronauts to drill, they train drillers to be astronauts. And everyone knows that makes no sense.
But a part of me thinks that Michael Bay wanted to punch everybody in the face cinematically with that logic. In the scene where Harper is talking to Billy Bob Thornton's character, and they're like, and he shows them all the astronauts that are going to be taught how to drill. Yeah. And then it goes into this like weird monologue about how like, I might be accidentally quoting CinemaSins here, but like saying like, drilling is hard work, astronauting's for wusses, like that kind of thing. Yeah. Like shames the occupation of being an astronaut. You know, the hardest thing you can do to your body, and saying, you know what you need? You need real drillers. I'm bringing my men on here.
Drillers are real men.
If this movie had a human antagonist, it would be that William Fichtner character who's just like, I'm doing this for who's really trying to be like, guys, this is why are you here?
But he's like, if anything, the only person who makes sense. That actor I like seeing in things because he's so like authoritative in a way that grounds a lot of movies, but not even he can sell the line, he's got space dementia, which he says about Steve Buscemi, which is such like an insane line. But that is where we are with this movie. Nothing makes sense.
In his defense, I needed him to say that line because I thought Rockhound was just being an idiot for a lot of the movie, which he kind of is.
I think Steve Buscemi and Michael Clark Duncan knew what movie they were in, and Peter Stormare, but they knew what movie they were in. And I was reading a quote by Steve Buscemi. He's just like, well, it got me a bigger house.
I was about to say, he said I want me a bigger house.
I think like the steps to this movie being made, this movie, the origin of it was the studio said we have to beat Deep Impact. We have to make our own Deep Impact.
Oh yeah, it's like if
they
you
took notes and just said like, we have to come out with this first.
If you made Deep Impact, but then gave it a lobotomy, you get Armageddon.
If Deep Impact didn't get its graduate degree, you would get Armageddon.
Well, it's like I guess the Deep Impact for the common man. I don't know. They basically add a ton of explosions to it. This movie has maybe 50 explosions in the first 8 minutes. The title card explodes.
And on that subject, I'd rather have if we
Eddie Griffin dies with
what a bizarre cameo.
If we have to keep the narration at the beginning, if that's something we're just not in the alternate universe creating, it's Charlton Heston, but why not Morgan Freeman? That would have just been so. Why Charlton Heston?
Why that I had no idea.
Why narration? Let's start with that. I mean, show me the dinosaurs.
It's only for the very beginning, and yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
They're setting up the asteroid thing with showing an animation of an asteroid, the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs crashing into Earth. One of the issues with that is that when you see the animation of Earth, it is like today's Earth because it's like today's continent.
Because they need to prove it to you that it's the Yucatan Peninsula, right? Is that where the
that's where
which didn't exist back then.
The crater is.
Yeah.
But that just goes into how anti-science this movie is.
Oh, God.
They're constantly shitting on NASA. NASA's wrong about everything, and Bruce Willis is constantly putting them down.
Just slightly in a way that like they sort of deserve for this movie. Like none of the science makes sense, but just feels like let's rip on NASA and just prove it to you that the only ones going to save the day are these oil boys.
Well, it's the jocks beating up on the nerds.
Yeah,
and I always think that's like a Michael Bay mentality, like a way of like character, like the characters are the jocks, the nerds are the nerds. Smack you in the back of the head, wedgie. Maybe that comic relief.
Maybe that speaks to why we're having this disparity of audiences really liking this, because I feel like
jocks loved it.
The American population is way more like jocks than nerds.
Yeah.
I reading the audience reviews for this, I really wish there was a font for sarcasm. I can't tell.
It's called Wingdings.
Because I want to. This movie is dumb entertaining. It really is like, if you're with friends and it was on, it's a good drinking game, it's a good point and laugh at it. It really is the dumb monkey at the zoo.
It's watchable. It has a lot of watchable aspects to it. First of all, audiences love ensemble casts, right?
Of course.
That goes for it. And the cast, they are charming. They're just doing their normal shticks. Bruce Willis and his kind of like, that glare he has and his kind of like backhanded put downs. You have Steve Buscemi.
He's sassy, but don't touch my daughter. The every dad man.
Ben Affleck.
Right before he loses his hair.
That sounds like Tommy Wiseau got cast as Bruce Willis. I would have. Here's the thing. I could dunk on this movie all day, but at the end of the day, I loved it because it really is like the G-force of a movie that you're feeling. I read that like the average cut is like a second and a half, so like you just do not have a lot of time to soak anything in. But in regards,
when the bomb goes off, I think that's the most artistic thing that Michael Bay has ever attempted.
That was a little beautiful. I was like, wow.
Can we talk about how his flashback is like one scene of them like near the tree that Liv Tyler and Ben Affleck were also like? Did they all just hang out near the same tree?
Those were his last thoughts. Is that the same place where Ben Affleck and Liv Tyler are flirting with animal crackers?
And they bang to the music of her dad.
Of Steve Tyler, actual dad.
Yeah.
Steve Tyler.
But I feel like
so much to talk about this movie.
I would have loved if they had spent more time on Michael Clarke Duncan, Steve Buscemi, and and apparently they were told that there was going to be more time spent on them, like it was going to be more about the ensemble and about Bruce Willis's character. Yeah. But apparently, I was just reading this with some notes that with the success of Titanic and wanting to appeal to quote-unquote teenage girls. They didn't add Liv Tyler's character, but they added more, to the very wooden romantic scenes about, what qualifies as a cracker, you put a cheese on it. What is this conversation we're having?
Well, that, to me, is such, a phony attempt to appeal to, a female demographic. It's don't worry, ladies, we got something for you, too.
Girls, get in line.
With apologies to Liv Tyler and Ben Affleck, I think they've both grown as actors.
Yes.
And they have proven that, but this is very much in the beginning of their careers, and that scene is awful in every way.
I can't take that scene.
Acting.
Yeah. It is so cringy.
But it's kind of on par with, if you were to do like a top 10 like cringiest love scene, that's like up there with like I don't like sand from like
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
Do you think they have animal crackers in it? Like,
Why is all of your impressions of these actors
Why
like
is
they're all
it-
Brooklyn or something?
Yeah.
But
They're French Brooklynites.
they have. She has the line though, like.
Mamma mia.
So Liv Tyler, when they're flirting with animal crackers, Liv Tyler has a line where it's like, "You think anyone else on this whole world is doing what we're doing now?" And Ben Affleck is like, "Sure, hope so. Otherwise, what's this world fighting for?" First of all, I hope no one has ever done that ever at any point in time. Second of all, that is to you like the epitome of human existence is like running an animal cracker along your girlfriend's stomach.
The only thing I could think of when she said that line, because of how hollow it is like Michael Bay, 3 a.m., shirtless, sweating over his desk, thinking to yourself, how do people talk? Fuck, how do people talk to each other? Like, he needed to write a scene.
It's a lose-lose because if someone wrote that, and I want to get into the writing for a bit, but if someone wrote
the
that,
5 writers.
that's a oh my god.
Yeah.
But if they improv that, oh my god, it's
God.
a lose-lose.
Yeah.
But this movie had 9 writers on it.
9 writers.
Now, including J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
What?
A young J.J. Abrams.
He did the screenplay.
But they
One
also
half.
went to, and you can, I think they went with the guy who wrote Jumanji and Die Hard with a Vengeance. They went with his story. Like, they had, like, Armageddon, what's your plot? And everyone's like,
Yeah.
But they had Robert Towne come in and do some writing. And Robert Towne is known for writing what many consider the best screenplay ever, Chinatown.
Jeez.
He's an older man by this point. And imagine going to a screenwriter like, Rob, we got a challenge for you.
Do we know what parts he contributed?
I imagine it's just a bunch of cut and paste. The movie looks like it was written by 9 people.
I mean, on second thought, I don't want to know, but
It's like you get the guy who writes what many consider the best screenplay of all time, and you ask him to like, okay, animal crackers, what can you do with them?
but why
What
would
can you do with these animal crackers we have?
I mean, yes, he has written one of the best screenplays of all time, but this is clearly a movie that was made just for the money and special effects. Like, I would not ask the writer of The Godfather to help me out with like some mindless action movie. That doesn't make sense.
Ben. It's Armageddon.
Forget it, Ben. I'm getting out of here. That's how I knew about this movie for the first time in my life. Was even before I saw it. Mad Magazine did a comic called Armageddon Out of Here, and it was great.
We're 150 feet, Harry! Yeehaw! Ride 'em, cowboy! Yippee-yi-yo-ki-yay!
Get off the nuclear warhead.
I was doing that guy from that movie, you know, Slim Pickens, where he rides it all the way in, the nuclear warhead.
Now.
I didn't see that one, huh?
We got 700 feet of hole to dig, Rockhand!
All right, just wanted to feel the power between my legs, brother. Hey, Sharp. No nukes! No nukes! No nukes!
You got any more bullets in that gun shop?
I would say the marketing deserves their own Oscar. I know they don't give Oscars for this, but the marketing of this they built it as an event movie. I remember seeing it with my parents.
Did you guys? I mean, we were pretty young when this movie came out. I mean,
I was 8.
I was
about 7, 6 when it came out.
I don't think I was really aware of this movie or really had seen it until it was like on TV, like whatever movie channel, and I caught it with my parents a few times. And being younger, I enjoyed just the shallow pleasures of it, I guess. The banter between the actors, and all those actors are
You
likable.
love Steve Buscemi.
Yeah,
Right.
The action.
You
of
loved
it all.
you loved Escape from L.A. and all of his roles there.
Well, Independence. This movie, I remember the theater being packed, and this movie has clap moments. Like this movie is a sports movie.
Oh yeah,
Martin Scorsese said, "Not theme park sports." It's
sure.
This movie was a success. This movie
was
lightning in a bottle success.
It made a lot of money.
It had.
This is Volcano in a bottle. It's just like it's insane what's going on there. I always knew this movie for being on like the USA Network on Sundays at 5 p.m. It's heavily edited, so you probably get, not including commercials, about an hour and 45 minutes or something.
Which is what it probably should have been.
Yeah, we probably should have been, but I never watched it because I was just more of in the 3 movies that are playing in rotation: Forrest Gump, Shawshank Redemption, and
Episodes
Armageddon.
NCIS. Episodes of Suits.
Episodes of Suits, CSI Miami. But no, I think I was more in love to tip of the hat to the production and marketing, like you were saying. We had this poster. You guys both remember.
I wanted to bring up this poster.
Yeah, we had this poster at our. Context.
So, a lot of us, for those who don't know, the three of us and a lot of other guests who've been on the show, we all went to college together. We went to Rutgers.
Hey, Rutgers!
And at this
Scarlet Knights,
at this off-campus house where that was basically like the epicenter of all of our madness, there was a poster, this long, short poster that had all the characters.
Wide. It was a wide poster.
That's what it is. Of Armageddon was there, and it was there for just because it was kind of funny. They had some of the main characters' faces emblazed over this poster with all their motivations. So it's just kind of funny. They have Bruce Willis's character. He's doing it for honor.
Let's do it in a round. Grace. She's doing it for love.
Which, by the way, she doesn't do anything.
She doesn't do anything.
AJ, he's doing it for her.
Which is
kind of close-minded. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be doing this. Billy Bob Thornton's character, Truman, he is doing it for his country.
For the record, he's doing a lot in this movie. I don't want to take away. He's not going up to space. He's in the, ground control. So I don't know why he's being added. Chick. He's doing it for the thrill.
I can't believe there's a character in a movie named Chick.
He's also not doing it for the thrill. He's
Is
doing
that
it
the
for
bad
his
dad?
son. Yeah,
that's
the bad
dad.
Yeah, wait a minute. That's not true. For the thrill.
Who's not doing it for the thrill? To save his son. And then one more. I'm going to give it to Keith.
And then Rockhound, he's doing it for the money. That's probably the most
true.
accurate, yeah.
That's the most accurate.
But didn't he say when he was coming down, when they were going, he said he owed $100,000 to a loan shark?
I think Steve Buscemi has a scene right before they go up in space where he borrows...
No, I remember that scene, yeah.
$100,000 from a loan shark because he assumes that, everyone's going to die, so might as well.
Spend it at the strip club.
No, that was a little, short-sighted on his part, I guess.
I'm very curious what the paycheck would you guys be in this if you we've all acted in stuff before?
Yeah.
Would you star in this movie?
Can I answer? My answer is absolutely, but I don't want to be lied to that I think the ensemble cast was. I think I remember reading that a couple of them, including Steve Buscemi and Michael Clark Duncan, but specifically Steve Buscemi, took on the role because they were told it was going to be a more heroic writing of the characters, which is what he wanted, because at this point, what was he in by this point? He had just played so many kind of I don't want to say skeezy, but he kind of played
Peter Stonmore really worked a lot.
He was on Fargo by this point, and so he wanted to move away from that type of character, and so he wanted to do a more heroic character, and then it got rewritten,
and then the studio comes in hey, you know what, that character that you're really good at playing?
Yeah, you remember Map to the Stars, Eddie? We want you to do that again, basically, but more of a pervert.
But the paycheck for this, Billy Bob Thornton said, this was clearly
could not turn it down. Well,
no, of course not.
It also depends on where you are in your career, and I think it's interesting to look at where each of the actors are in their career. So, by this point, Bruce Willis is a very established action movie star. Mm-hmm. But then on the other end of the spectrum, I thought Owen Wilson, interesting that he, at this point, I don't think he's as famous as some of these other stars. But he does that Owen Wilson thing he does in a lot of his early filmography. He is the first to die.
Yeah. Anaconda.
The Haunting.
And I think his only big movie at the time was that, and
we don't talk about it.
Wes Anderson Bottle Rocket. I think. That was around this time.
He died in Rushmore. No one talks about it, but he did.
That was a deleted scene.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think Owen Wilson in this movie is just like his typical Owen Wilson self.
Yeah.
Why did they kill him off so soon?
I mean, a part of me even asked, I'm glad that Owen Wilson's in the movie, but he doesn't have that much going on to do.
He's a geologist, and they just kind of show him bantering around, and I think he helps with building the drill.
Yeah,
they all help with that.
Looking confused and saying kind of new agey things that no one's really paying attention to.
He has some Owen Wilson moments where it's guys, this is outer space. I mean, this is real, like, hero stuff here, guys. Like,
Yeah.
it's I love that stuff. I wish we had gotten more of it.
The most bonkers scene when they're trying to pick him up in the helicopters and he's running away and sort of the...
They were all running away.
But he was specifically, like, they made sure that he was completely shaded, because I don't know why they couldn't get him on a horse or something like that.
The very weird close-up of him, like...
Was he the guy on the horse when they were...
when the helicopters were coming through,
I was like, during that montage of, like, I got a crew.
By the way, that was a span of 18 hours that Liv Tyler and Bruce Willis are going to... 18 hours, yeah. That they were going to Houston from the South China Sea and the oil rig. So all of these dudes had the time to go to South Dakota, New Orleans, wherever the hell Owen Wilson went.
They don't put any thought into this movie that they didn't.
I am mad.
Your head will spin.
This movie does not deserve your time and thought right
especially
now.
for disaster movies like this, like him and Roland Emmerich, that global hopping, like they don't care.
No,
well, those movies,
it's all good.
Yeah, it's all like surface level stuff.
Let it ride, man.
I mean, a lot of those movies involve destroying cities, which I'm not a really big fan of. I don't like seeing destruction on such a huge scale like that.
New York gets it so bad.
New York gets
Always.
it, but
Paris is ruined.
I get a kick out of that opening scene where they destroy New York City because it is so like cheesy in like little ways. For example, when they destroy Grand Central Station, there's a guy with an I Love New York shirt. In case you still weren't sure where we were, there's a guy with that. Or even like the top of the Chrysler building comes down.
Oh, the humans come down with it.
Yeah,
That
it looks
rough.
really
The
bad.
People, yeah.
That's a problem too. This is like the late 90s. This is when CGI was really like, pun intended, exploding.
Yeah.
And the problem is that movies at the time were so like excited to use it, but it has aged so badly.
Oh, all that asteroid and this movie was nominated for like a couple awards, and I'm so happy it didn't win it.
No, I'm glad Shakespeare in Love blew away the Academy. That's great.
Well, Gwyneth Paltrow was completely CGI.
Yeah. And Ben Affleck was in both of those movies.
Oh, that's right. He was.
He was. Yeah.
He was also
He played Ned something in Shakespeare in Love. I can't remember the name. But
he was also in the very next Michael Bay film, Pearl Harbor.
Yes, he was.
Which I despise that movie because that movie, quick tangent about that, is not even about Pearl Harbor. Michael Bay basically decided, Pearl Harbor isn't interesting enough. Let me just create these fictional characters and have a love triangle that happens to take place during Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
So, little tangent there.
Heaven forbid you do any real research on any people that were on Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have been that hard to do at all.
No, there's no interesting stories there.
No.
Michael Bay is like if you ever want to look at how like the studio, what they're thinking and at that time, Michael Bay is always a good example, and for better or for worse.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this guy who did music videos and got milk commercials. I mean, he gets his first big movie with The Rock.
Yeah,
that's actually.
I don't know. He was right on Bad Boys.
That's probably his no, The Rock was the first, I think.
Is it? I thought he did. I thought he directed. Did he not direct Bad Boys? Am I wrong?
He did Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2.
Okay.
But he starting out. Those are very kind of retain. Like, I don't know. They're held back on what it really could be.
There's restraint.
There's restraint.
There's
That's the word I was
restraint.
looking for.
Yeah.
And then the studio goes like during the time of when Bug's Life. So they have to make a Woody Allen Ants movie. They're like, their studios are copying one another.
Yeah, a lot of
it's like, okay, we're going to get... The Rock was successful, so we're going to get Michael Bay, who did Armageddon. Okay, Titanic was successful. What other American tragedy can we exploit in some way with a love story? Pearl Harbor. All right. Toys are like what are people in now? Transformers.
Yeah.
It's very much okay. That's a success. Let's give him 7 more.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not, and that's another reason why like I can see myself very much defending my experience and how much I had a good time with it, because there is no defending the intelligence of Armageddon. It is jockey, meathead, bulky, fuck you to the face slap of a movie.
Totally.
But it's also a crazy 3D experience. Like if it was one of those things where like in like Six Flags or Disney or wherever, they strap you in one of those indoor experiences where you're like
simulating
a simulation.
Yeah.
Yeah. You put me in one of those and I'll sit there for 2.5 hours and do that whole thing. That would be incredible. And even watching it on my like like dingy laptop, I got a little bit of that, which was enough to keep my attention. So being in a big theater with a big screen, like seeing it when it was coming out at the time, I can see it being fun for that and getting prices, if nothing else.
It is, I'm sure, a good movie theater experience at the time. I'm sure at the time, like, the effects were, impressive for people. And, this was like probably... I feel like it's a textbook summer blockbuster. It's
I was about to say, it's the epitome of a summer blockbuster.
It's very like 4th of July. You could compare it to a fireworks show.
It's 100 degrees outside with 100% humidity, and I don't want to think.
Yeah.
Let me go in for some air. This movie is like, I came in here primarily for the air conditioning.
Yeah. Good. It's 2.5 hours, so you get plenty of it.
And like on their drive home, it's just like, that was a fun movie, and then you start talking about the movie, and you're like, wait a minute. No, but I had fun.
Right.
And that's where a lot of people, that's where a lot of the reviews are like, I know it's stupid, but I had a lot of fun with its stupidity.
Yes.
But there are a lot of easy things that they do to like boost people's positive opinions, like, all those American flags, like I feel like people who defend this movie are like, what are you, anti-American or something? Like,
Well, that's Michael Bay's, Michael Bay, even Transformers, he's very pro-military, very
a lot of backdrops of flags, if not just a direct shot of flags. A lot of inspirational quotes or lines that are thrown in there.
Well, that's why they hired Liv Tyler. We just need Grace behind a draped flag. We need her behind Paige. I mean, honestly, they would play the national anthem behind her the whole time if they could.
Also, Mila Jovovich and Robin Wright Penn turned this down. And
really?
I was like, Mila Jovovich,
and didn't
she turned this down?
I remember reading, didn't they have to convince Liv Tyler twice? She rejected it twice before she finally said she'd do it.
Like, hey, can you beef up this character?
Can you just give me anything, please?
Well, the advantage of casting Liv Tyler is that her father, Steve Tyler, provided pretty much the entire soundtrack.
Don't wanna close my eyes.
Fun fact, or not really that fun. that was my prom song.
Really?
Yeah,
that's a beautiful prom song.
That was the end of prom. Yeah, but it's like.
It was the
song. Like, I don't want to miss a thing. Song from the Armageddon soundtrack.
I was about to say,
your prom song.
I don't mean to make fun, but I can see a high school Keith being asked by the homecoming queen comes up to you and asks to dance. You're just like, I can't. This is Armageddon, not to this. Maybe next time, Toots.
Are you guys aware that song, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, was written for this movie?
Yes. I do know that, and that's what agitates me the most about it, because if this was like an Aerosmith B-side from 89 when
that's what I thought
when Steve Tyler was coming out of rehab, and they're making their big late 80s early 90s comeback, and this was a ballad that didn't go that well, but they're reusing it, that would have been enough. The fact that they wrote it for that, and it has nothing to do with what the fuck we're doing with the movie.
No,
you know what I mean?
It elicits these very cheesy feelings, and I know, or at least I read that a lot of Aerosmith fans hate that song, and really,
I believe
they consider it to be Aerosmith selling out, which I guess in a way they are. They're being paid by.
He's on American Idol, or he was on American Idol,
but he didn't tell Aerosmith that. Apparently, he did that on his own. Just saying.
But
I'm defending Steve Tyler.
Your Honor.
Your Honor, objection.
No, but I bet that your theory about I bet they are just we're getting paid all this money to write a song. Yeah. I don't want to write this song. They're just looking through folders.
Yeah, I feel like if you're gonna give me I love a song to go with a movie. But it needs to have a little bit of a connection. Like Huey Lewis and the News Power of Love, and then later they would write Back in Time for Back to the Future Part 2. Both of those have somewhat of a connection to what's going on in that movie, right? Yeah. There are other examples that I'm not thinking of at the moment. My Heart Will Go On, Celine Dion. But for Titanic, that's a perfect connection.
That works, but another song, this reminds me of Kiss from a Rose. Kiss from a Rose has nothing to do with Batman.
But that story...
So, absolutely nothing. And if you can't find it, Dan, I will kick you out.
No. I'll see myself out. Thank you for having me. No, but I also read that... I listened to it that...
Seals or roses have nothing to do with Batman.
Seals, roses... There was an enemy, the seal, that they never got to. It was a pilot Batman
played
enemy.
by Vincent Price.
Oh, it was perfect. You should have seen the mustache. But he... Apparently that was a Seal B-side that they decided to pick up for the very end of Batman.
Wow, that was a B-side? I thought that was his most famous song.
It wasn't originally. Batman propelled it, apparently. Okay. I could be wrong about that. That's what I heard.
These 90s soundtracks.
It's a weird...
There's no defending that, though, I agree.
It's a weird algorithm of both of just 90s plus movie making. Why this movie is a success, who Bruce Willis star at the time, Oscar winner... who we want to make an A-lister, Ben Affleck,
right?
Son, daughter of
Liv Tyler,
just all these famous
these
90s
ensemble
character actors.
Yeah.
Not deep. Like this movie made it's $140 million. That's a big. The studio invested big.
Was this?
Yeah,
It
paid off.
I think it's one of the biggest box office movies of 19.
This was Disney, right?
I think so.
This was number.
No, it wasn't Disney.
No, but it was.
I think Deep Impact.
Touchdown.
Yeah, Touchdown.
It was Touchdown.
Yeah,
Touchdown.
This was like the biggest. I heard this was like the biggest budget they had given. Touchdown had given a film at the time, and it was the highest grossing of 1998.
And in defense of Michael Bay, this movie was 16 weeks to shoot.
Yeah.
And he does describe it as being hectic, and
sure. Yeah.
I imagine. Yeah. I always said, I would be in this movie. Of course, there's the money, but I get to hang out with all these like famous actors, and we get to when we're not filming, we're playing basketball or something. I get to hang out with Michael Clark Duncan.
You get to play basketball with Michael Clark Duncan.
But apparently, I bet Michael.
I can get my ass kicked at
Michael Bay
basketball.
was very much like, all right, we got to do all this stuff in all these 16-hour days. Because Bruce Willis did say, I did not like his directing style, and I will not work with him again.
Yeah, burned a bridge.
So I imagine the actors may have had fun, maybe.
I
know Bruce Willis and Michael Bay did not have fun.
Okay, Cyclops lady's starting to bug me.
Can you handle it?
I mean, I can handle what I'm going to do. I can handle that, but I don't know if I can handle this room.
Woman with large breasts. Woman with medium breasts.
Here's Harry giving me a hard time. And this is Harry telling me it's not good enough. And this is Harry telling me I can't marry his daughter. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Just let it out.
Good. I suffered a major head injury when I was in high school.
This one looks like you. With breasts.
Yeah, I can handle it. Yeah, I can handle it.
A home run! The Cubs win the World Series!
I thought they had good chemistry. I mean, that's part of why the banter part at least worked for me. Like, the montage of them getting evaluated and training and, little scenes of them kidding around. I thought that, they had good chemistry. So that's one positive thing I'll say.
The scene where they're all getting tested in the NASA hospital training center or whatever.
Yeah.
And Michael Clark Duncan just jumps on the bed and just starts doing like a little striptease. That was so fun to watch.
That was fun to watch, but also out of nowhere. But the problem though too is they build up all these characters with all these relationships,
right?
And it seems like when they go into outer space, they kind of kill them arbitrarily. Like, why did they kill certain characters and not others? Like, it just seemed like they picked names out of a hat, like, this character lives, this character dies.
You're probably right.
I don't know if this is diving back into the deep end of thinking too hard about this movie, but I think what would have been a better cocktail, a better sort of algorithm for this, is really, like, cut it deeply to, like, I don't know, under 2 hours, and have that whole training thing be like an 80s montage. Put, like, Highway to the Danger Zone behind it, right? Make it quick, give Steve Buscemi a couple of quick lines to say, like, oh, this is nothing like when I was a teacher at Princeton or whatever, and then let's get right to the action of being in space. Like, I like that they were, having that fun with it, but it also felt like it was making it arbitrarily long. Like,
I think I know why that scene was long, and I discovered this also. They begged NASA to can we use this equipment?
Yeah.
So, can we use all this the
$1 billion suits?
They only used 2 of those suits. The rooms, the anti-gravity rooms, the water. They begged NASA to be can we use this area for I don't know how many weeks or something. But I imagine it's just we got the area, we might as well just make the most
get
of
your
it.
money's worth.
Get the money's worth.
I understand that.
But they repay NASA by bashing them the whole time.
And NASA repaid them they apparently show this movie to astronauts and people. Here's what's wrong. All this stuff. Yeah. Apparently there's 168. Check my number. Things wrong with this movie. Not only storytelling wise, but just what astronauts shouldn't do.
Inaccuracies.
Inaccuracies.
Here's how you're gonna die if you try to recreate this.
That number
Don't drill.
That number sounds conservative to me. But there's little things they really Steve Buscemi has a couple moments where he really undercuts real things that are scientific terms. When they say you'll slingshot around the moon, Steve Buscemi's what, the fucking coyote? That's stupid. I'm no, that's actually how it works.
And by the way, his character is supposed to be the most intelligent because during the psychoanalysis, I'm not saying the word right, psychoanalysis, he He like touts that he got 2 PhDs by the age of 22 and taught at Princeton for 2 years.
He's
so
a genius.
I got an idea. If you're gonna make his character say that, how about come up with something better? Like
not just kind of like put down like actual things that NASA says, or even
I blame Robert Towne for that.
Yeah. Oh, you should. Yeah, blame him for that one.
Or when they're like training in the pool, and then like Steve Buscemi's like, "What, are we gonna go swimming on this rock?" I'm like, dude, don't be an asshole about this.
Captain America overjumped the base by 27 miles. How do you know that? Because I'm a genius. We're gonna die.
Apparently, you're also a dick.
Yeah.
And then they set him up to be this really smart character by that line, right? That you brought up. But then he actually does the stupidest things in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, he is, when he has space dementia, he is, like, riding the warhead like a horse, and he is, like, just shooting randomly up into outer space. He does the stupidest shit, and apparently...
That's where the third act is when this movie takes a left
Everything
turn
gets all
into
higgledy-piggledy.
This movie takes a sharp left turn into what the fucksville. Like,
time to throw everything at the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah, no, it exploded at the wall. Like, it really just...
the whole scene.
We all went for... I feel like America was fooled by this movie.
Yeah.
Because this is... I don't...
But sometimes you want to be fooled, you know? Sometimes it's August and it's hot. You don't mind being fooled.
Well, it has all the ingredients of a good movie theater experience.
Right.
Right? You have all those beats, you have the jokes, you have the action, and all those things that I guess a lot of audiences, look for. And like the stars, these are all stars that people had liked already going into it. And the spectacle of it all, this is like the epitome of a spectacle movie. So some people like that.
There's two areas to grade this movie. One on the spectacle, like the entertainment value, the dumbness of it, and then the movie itself.
Yeah.
Because I don't really see a lot of families get like, what movie are we gonna watch today? How about Armageddon? This movie's more casually like, oh, flipping through the channels. Hey, honey, we're 20 minutes into Armageddon.
I can't wait to gather.
It's cold outside.
I can't wait to gather my huge family all around me and get a big old bowl of popcorn and go, this is a classic. It is in the Criterion Collection.
I was about to say, this movie, like, the teacher who taught Michael Bay also said, like, this is a work of art, and I'm like, what?
Like, and there was also, tell me if this is the wrong quote, because I was reading something about that as well, where the professor says something like, you were introduced to the characters in, like, the first act. If that isn't great script writing, I don't know what is. To which I wanted to raise my hand and go, like, is that all you need?
No, this movie should give you hope to screenwriters.
But wait a minute. Isn't every movie a movie where you get introduced to the characters in the first act?
Is that called exposition? Isn't that how that goes?
That's, like, impossible not to
I'm a little cinematically illiterate, but I thought that was kind of the goal.
Hero's journey.
Yeah.
The hero is in the journey.
Joseph Campbell.
But also, for something to be, an art is subjective, but usually,
art is objective.
Objective.
What kind of art is this? This is more like a banana taped to a wall. This is that equivalent.
This is borderline propaganda.
This is equivalent to a banana being taped to a wall and someone buying it for $175,000.
Keith, thank you for dating this podcast immediately.
Yeah, thanks so much. In like 10 years, I'll be like, what are you imagining?
Oh, yeah.
Guys, this is the Banksy of movies.
But also, I feel like movies have to, if something is art, it usually is saying something. Even saying nothing is saying something. This movie isn't about anything. This movie has, like, what is to be taken from this story?
This movie isn't saying anything. This art isn't saying anything. It's screaming something at you from its pickup truck and then, like, just speeding away and not hearing what you have to say back.
Yeah, and throwing, like, a beer can at my head.
Yeah, exactly. But it's still, I agree with
the arc. I'm trying to think of the arc for...
Well, I was just going to say, like, I agree that there's two ways to look at it from spectacle and the movie standpoint, and I will give credit to Michael Bay and the writers and the editors that seeing it on a bigger screen, I definitely get the fear and the excitement. Everything from when they're taking that what's it called, the armadillo, and like they're trying to jettison it through the canyon via the turbos. I felt a little bit of fear and trepidation for them getting stuck in space. Or when I almost said spoiler alert, but we've been spoiling like the whole dang time. Well, which one gets destroyed, Freedom or Independence?
Independence.
So when Independence crashes in and we see the bodies just jump through the window or the glass last minute, I felt myself myself sweating a little bit. Like, I gotta give it to him there. They definitely
knows action.
It gets you right in your instinct, like, ancient brain and scares you for, like, survival. You're like reptilian brain.
Well,
and that's what I like about
the
it.
movie hits that note constantly because everything goes wrong. There is not a moment where there isn't something that's not working, right? Like the drill head doesn't go, like the drill heads aren't working,
right?
Or then like the nuclear, like they can't detonate the bomb remotely anymore. You know, the first spaceship crashes. Like even the refueling station.
The refueling station. Peter.
The second
they have to fight with the U.S. government to stop them from blowing up.
Peter Sylmore joins your team, like
who's actually
for some reason
the most useful member of the team.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of funny though because oh shit, I lost my train of thought for a second. Hold on, we'll edit this.
We were talking about
don't wanna miss
a third.
Yeah, like intermission.
When I dream of you.
Oh god.
Oh my god, it's bringing
we
back prom all over again.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that to you. I don't remember what mine was.
I was saying how everything was going wrong.
We were talking about how Storm Air joins them after.
The refueling station. I was just gonna mention how the second they start fueling the spaceships, like this, then really like there's explosions. Like this refueling station was just like a ticking time bomb, I guess. Like it's immediately like everything is blowing up.
It's been leaking. Like it clearly has been leaking since he went down there.
So Peter Stormare he's bad at his job, like that he was assigned to. But, you know, when he's brought on this mission, then he's the hero. So he redeems himself.
He does redeem himself.
It should have been about him.
I feel like we should have pivoted the movie towards, like, his life, like, when he comes back down to Earth. Like, what's going on with him now?
Armageddon 2, how to move. Like, it's just like...
Armageddon 2, Eat, Pray, Love. Then he travels around the destroyed cities.
The comic comes back, and this time it's pissed.
He eats in New York, he prays in Paris, and he loves in Shanghai.
Well, why did Paris get destroyed? Because what meteor was that?
That was like the... tell me if I'm wrong with this, but wasn't it like we have like 2 waves of like mini asteroids coming before the big asteroid? So the first one was New York. Oh, 3. Because the first one was New York. The second one was Shanghai. Had a question about Shanghai's setting. I was looking at photos of Shanghai in 1998. Didn't necessarily look like that.
I thought that was a problematic design.
They would not. They didn't expect you to do that.
They didn't expect me to look at or question whether or not that looked more like Imperial China and not
I think
modern
it's the
day.
same set they use in like Pirates of the Caribbean 3 Shanghai. It's like the same thing.
It kind of looks like it, yeah. But regardless,
and Paris was because Americans beat up on the French.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, there's nothing like
Godzilla did it, so now we have to do it.
There's nothing that is, you know, more enjoyable for some of these grassroots Americans than seeing like Paris get annihilated.
Yeah. Let's get our 2 national enemies on here, but like we've sort of since the Cold War been cool with Russia, so our Soviet Storm Air is going to go ahead and redeem himself, but Paris, no, you don't get out of this.
Yeah, what's this movie trying to say about our diplomatic relations? It's kind of getting mixed messages here.
I don't know, because like then they do this scene where everyone's listening on the radio, and it's like all of the rural parts of America that miraculously don't get touched by meteors are listening to, and then we get like I guess it's like Ireland or somewhere else, and then it's Istanbul maybe, I'm not 100% sure, and then Paris, but they're all in a cafe and they've got like motorcycles and baguettes.
No,
you know what's funny?
Peter Seymour's the classic Russian. There's like vodka like spinning around and potato.
He's wearing the flap hat.
He's wearing the flap hat
with the Soviet crest on it.
You know what's funny? They show the monks,
right? Everyone's praying.
You know what's kind of odd too? Like when they do blow up the meteor, everyone from every point on Earth can see. Like, no matter where you are on Earth, you are looking at the same...
beautiful Aurora Borealis.
But, like, you know, again, this kind of aggressive anti-science here. Like, yeah, everyone can see the same point in the sky, no matter where you are on Earth.
And then, like...
Except for the Eskimos. They didn't show... Like,
no, they didn't show them.
They have no idea what's going on.
Nope, and you would have no idea. And then there's, like, every kid is, like, ready to celebrate with a cardboard
They all have the sparklers.
Yeah, the sparklers.
You're right. This movie, I think, did come out 4th of July weekend?
Oh, it had to have.
It had to have been.
Like,
you know,
get a hot dog in your face.
You know, there's another
chubby.
funny line with the kids. The chick has the kid. You know, they really like gloss over that. They rush his kind of backstory.
July 1st.
July 1st.
There you go.
Hey, you don't want to miss a thing, and that thing is our nation's birthday.
No, that's like this movie.
The
studio and marketing just should deserve an Oscar for this movie.
So the chick, his son, like, I guess his son doesn't know who he is, and the mom's like, you're not supposed to come around here anymore. But we never find out
that's
why.
The end of the plot.
We don't know yet.
For him.
Like, what did he do?
Yeah, he could have been a very bad dad.
But he's just the whole movie. He's
no
just,
idea.
He's just a nice guy who is basically got Bruce Willis's back, and I don't know, what could this guy have done? But then at the end, it's like you could see the line coming from a mile away. Like, who's that, Mom? That's your dad.
And he's got the toy.
They
gave the toy spaceship that he gave him. Well, we've got to cover all the bases of the everymen that are going to be on there. We've got grizzled professional / concerned father. We've got young guy trying to make his name and trying to make somebody proud. We've got family man with a young child, and we've got huge pervert.
Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck trying to make his own. I mean, he is constantly disregarding orders, and he's going by his heart or whatever. Like in the very beginning, he's disobeying Bruce Willis and causes the oil rig to overflood, so he gets fired. And then when they're doing the simulation in the pool,
does the same thing.
And then he's NASA's wrong. I know how this machine works. NASA's wrong. Again, putting down NASA. So basically, the movie is saying Ben Affleck is right. His heart is what saves the day, and all those scientific facts and research would have just held us back.
A lot of people don't know this, but one of the prototype taglines was "Ben Affleck hates NASA," and that was going to be, they got Kevin Smith to approve.
But I think Kevin Smith did say he during Dogma he visited set. I think Ben Affleck was doing this and Dogma at the same time
because he just finished with. I don't know if he just finished, but Mallrats had come out recently.
No, Mallrats was 94, 93.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking of something else.
But I just find Ben Affleck so dislikable in this movie because you have that cheesy romance that's cringy, and then he is just constantly arguing with everybody. Bruce Willis, NASA, he's always you're all wrong and I'm right based on nothing.
Yeah.
And I don't want this.
You know what I was thinking?
What? I really don't think that the animal cracker qualifies as a cracker.
Why?
Well, because it's sweet, which to me suggests cookie, and maybe putting cheese on something is sort of the defining characteristic of what makes a cracker a cracker. I don't know why I thought of that. I just...
Baby, you have such sweet pillow talk.
I got little animal cracker Discovery Channel thing happening right here. Watch the gazelle as he grazes through the open plains. Now look, as the cheetah approaches, watch as he stalks his prey. Now the gazelle's a little spooked, and he could head north to the ample sustenance provided by the mountainous peaks above. He could go south.
They really tried to push him to be a leading star.
The heartthrob. Is this had to be either
Daredevil,
is this right before or right at the beginning of the Bennifer era?
No.
No.
Geely's 2003.
Yeah,
so 5 years after this.
We call this the Byler era because Ben Affleck and Liv Tyler would be together again in Jersey Girl. But that was much later.
But were they together in real life?
I don't think so. Okay. I don't know. Don't quote me on that one.
Well,
Ben, if you're listening, can you reach out to us and just
or
clarify?
Liv Tyler. I don't want to assume she doesn't listen.
I do I stood up for your Batman. Sorry, you got replaced.
And I stood up for Liv Tyler's Batman. I can't believe they haven't cast. Let's change the gender a bit.
I was Liv Tyler watching The Leftovers. She has grown. Mm-hmm. I really do. I'm really happy to see her
both actors.
now,
Ben Affleck is now. He is. Shown to be a very skillful director and dramatic actor. Liv Tyler has done a lot of great work too. So it's just kind of interesting. You get your start here, but thankfully they wouldn't get shoehorned into these really shallow blockbuster movies.
The kids made a great, fun movie at summer camp.
They made a fun,
and it's watching videos of your old plays.
Yeah,
you might have fun making it, but they're kind of not.
They're for you.
They're for you.
Yes,
and everyone's going this is stupid, but you had fun.
It looks like you guys had fun. The senior year AV club came up with this insane script, and they got a bunch of A-listers on it.
I can actually also imagine a bunch of kids, middle school age kids, high school kids, really enjoying this movie too.
Oh, totally.
Like, like school's out, like they, go with their friends to like the mall, go to the movie, and have a good time with this.
Pretzel.
And they've loved it ever since, going on Rotten Tomatoes and leaving positive
You get
reviews.
to take your picture with a cardboard cutout of Rockhound.
Yeah, it's right there.
And he would be the cutout, would be Rockhound.
Or the asteroid. Like
there's just a text bubble above Rock Band that just like is looking down like this. It just says like "nice gams, babe" or something like that. Twice he says, "I didn't know her age." Oh, how gross.
No, that's the weird thing about Michael Bay is like they had in one of the Transformers.
Yeah.
I want to say in one of them
could be more.
They had
could be all
Mark Wahlberg. They had a line. It's like, "You're dating my daughter." But once again, I'm not good with this. You're dating my daughter, and the kid whips out like a card that says like the Romeo and I think because they're in Texas, like the Romeo and Juliet law, which is like, oh, if I'm 19 and she's 17, that's kind of. And I'm like,
that's not what it's called.
He takes a lot, but he takes like this is like a half a page of script of him going to like, well, this is the part
justifying dating a 17-year-old.
I know what you're saying, Keith, and absolutely, like, that's disgusting in its own right. But for some reason, you know how, like, someone describes something to you and you see it differently? I thought this guy had a bunch of white cards and on them said Romeo and Juliet law. And whenever someone questions how old his date is, he just goes, "Hey, man." It's, like, gross.
He's prepared.
Like, I didn't know how old she was. I'm like, damn it. Like, those lines. Like,
yeah, is that supposed to make the character, like, funny or charming? Like, that's very off-putting, if anything, that he like frequently is running into problems with like accidentally dating underage girls.
I think it's borderline insulting to think like, oh no, we can't have him just be like a professor at Princeton. Like, it's not enough for him to just be a genius. Let's make him a scumbag.
Smart guys are a bunch of creeps.
No, but he's a in terms of like characters, yeah, he's a smart guy. He could be a little bit on the like the mad scientist scale type thing.
Yeah,
like
he
the
could
mad, like
be, yeah.
he's the instead of this degenerate.
Yeah, I feel like in that case, then like and maybe this is just like a huge comment for the whole thing. Like, give him more to do, give him more to say, give him the suggestions to make it work. Because I feel like there's a lot of moments. I know this movie is just loaded with scientists coming in with ideas, and of course Truman himself, Billy Bob Thornton's got to say a lot of this stuff as well. But like, I don't think this movie Rockhound says anything of actual worth. He just says what people did wrong.
No, yeah, you're right.
He's just a commentator.
He's just a commentator.
He's the two Muppets.
But yeah, he's the two Muppets.
But
Bruce Willis insisted on having these dudes, and I think Owen Wilson's supposed to also be expert geologist. Have him say something about rocks, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. It was just.
It was just kind of they didn't really justify each character's like importance. They're just a bunch of funny guys, and you bring them along the way.
Bunch of goofy dudes getting arrested at a strip club.
I think this movie ultimately, though, I find kind of like patronizing in a way. Like, it's treating me like I'm dumb.
Yeah.
Because it's showing me like this really dumb story, and I think that's where I ultimately get rubbed the wrong way with this movie. Like, expecting me to be into the really cheesy romance and buying these really cheesy lines and, believing things that are just, like, ludicrous. Like freaking space dementia.
Well, JJ, I'm trying to remember if you brought this up before, but you have a scale of bad movies.
Yes.
Where does this fit in your
Tell us your
movie?
scale.
There's, I call it, like, my 5 movie tiers, bad movie tiers. So, the first tier is like forgettably bad. Then there's like obnoxiously bad or annoyingly bad. There's offensively bad, so bad it's good, and then unwatchable. So I would put this in the annoyingly bad. So the second category, and I mean, it is bad in a way that a lot of other movies are bad. Again, like they focus more on like CGI and production than they do a script, and that's a very common. That's a common cardinal sin of a lot of blockbuster movies, and it is just very like vacuous. There's just there's just a lot of really dumb things that you kind of roll your eyes at that are just make no sense plot wise, and that's why I find annoying about it. I don't think there's anything offensive about it. I don't think there's really anything that like warranted controversy, and it is memorable, so I wouldn't put it in the forgettable category.
I think we were talking about this before, but there is the I don't know if it's too often referenced or categorized category of movies that is, like you just said, so bad it's good. That there are whole things about that right now and have been for a long time now. So I don't know if it's being worn out. But I would not categorize this movie as so bad it's good. It's more like so stupid I'm excited.
Yeah.
If that can be its own category.
It's stupid and it has some charm in its stupidity.
Yeah.
You know, like it's very unassuming, I guess, and it's so basic and it's just giving you like such like primal essentials for like entertainment. You know, just kind of like
it's your id come to life.
Yes, there are movies that go for high IQ, and those tend to be like pedantic and a little bit like too much, very pretentious. You have the movies that are, I think a lot of them are right in the middle. Everyone can enjoy them. They have a story to say, and they're beautiful. And those movies tend to be the most successful, in my opinion. And then you have the ones that double down on the beefiness.
This movie triples down.
Yeah, you do not need to walk in with any IQ, and you're gonna have a good time.
And I do think audiences, for the most part, 20-something years later, have said, like, it's stupid, but I had a lot of fun doing it, and that's why it's an 80.
To be fair, I think sometimes, like, you want to watch a stupid movie, you know? And this movie is like, well, here you go.
This
movie gives you stupid on a platter.
This movie is butter-drenched kettle corn with bacon in it. There is nothing for you, but you cannot stop eating it.
It is a stupid buffet, and they overload your plate, and you're like, I can't do all of this, and it's like, yes, you will.
This movie,
you're not leaving this table until you finish all of this.
They're feeding it to you through like a shovel.
This movie is 40,000 mozzarella sticks.
I asked Michael why it was easier to train oil drillers to become astronauts than it was to train astronauts to become oil drillers, and he told me to shut the fuck up. So that was the end of that talk. He was like, Ben, just shut up, okay? This is a real plan, all right? I was like, you mean it's a real plan at NASA to train oil drillers? He was like, just shut your mouth.
So I think, though, we're at the point, now that we're summarizing things up, but we can share what approval rating we would give this movie and any final thoughts. So Dan, as our guest, we'll start with you. What would you ultimately give this movie, like, percentage-wise?
That's a great question. So going back to something that Keith said, I have to give this thing 2 grades. There are 2 separate grades for it. As a roller coaster, this movie gets 95%. This movie is fast, it's furious, and it's Tokyo drifting. No, this movie is just at a breakneck fucking speed. There are moments that are a little slow, so it's not a perfect 100%. But I would say in regards to action, it got my adrenaline up a couple of times. So as a roller coaster, I can give this bad boy a 95%. As a movie, I'm gonna have to. What was the audience score again? Well, the audience gave it. I'm trying to go back to it, but
it was like an 80-something%.
It's a 73% audience score, 38%.
All right, I'm gonna cut the difference here and give this bad boy like 65%, like a high like F or something like.
Wow, you're pulling at me. A high F.
I'm gonna like a good F.
A good F. Yeah, I think I might have gotten that from watching. But yeah, I'm gonna give it like a non-passing grade.
65 is passing.
Is it passing?
It's
all right.
Watchable.
Yeah, it's watchable. Yeah, I'm thinking of the grade a little bit weird here. I'll give it like I'm gonna give it that because for all that sucks in this movie, it's clear that they double down on how bad that sucks. If that makes any sense. It's clear that they had no interest in focusing on, a narrative or a plot line or worrying that it was going to be patronizing, that they shoehorned romance in it. They didn't care. They clearly knew what they were giving you. They were giving you just fistful of buffet food right in the face. Yeah. And it worked for a lot of people. A lot of people enjoyed it. So it is by no means I agree on the whole Criterion Collection edition.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't go. Yeah.
If this film gets into the National Film Registry, I will.
Oh, it is. Come on, future generations have to know what to do with an asteroid. But
they're gonna look at this movie for reference.
We gotta drill. We must drill.
We must drill. Yeah, it's not a classic, but I'll give it that middle rating just because
it belongs in a '90s time capsule.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
If you did like midnight showings of this at like the Roxy Theater,
I do think some people do watch it. Ironically, people like smart Alex from our generation are like, "Oh, this is so dumb. Look how dumb that is."
Future assholes.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
Keith, what would you give this?
Okay, well, the first score, I would probably give it a little bit lower. I would give it like an 80%.
Yeah.
Like on a personal level?
On a personal, like, it's not something I would go out of my way to watch, but if it was on TV...
Yeah.
Like, I haven't watched this movie in years.
No, neither have I.
But, like, if it was on, I would watch a little bit of it and just kind of go, like, that's so stupid.
Yeah.
Movie-wise, it's the 32.
Yeah.
Like, this movie is, like...
Yeah.
So stupid. Like, this...
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So we got let me just get my calculator here. So we got a 65 from Dan, a 32 from Keith.
I'm being generous because I'm just playing devil's advocate of how much I know they don't care. But I agree. That's
an interesting point. They like basically deliver you what they said they would, right? Like this movie is very transparent about what it is, what it's giving you. Take it or leave it, no apologies. So I kind of have to give it like a little bit respect for that. Reluctantly, and I do acknowledge the watchability factor of it. But again, I mean, like, to give this thing anything positive is something like reluctant on my part because, like, I just don't want to like give it any credit for how stupid it is, and I don't want there to be too many movies like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I do not want millions of dollars going towards more movies like this.
Yeah. And this is going to stop it. This podcast is stopping.
I don't think...
We got to make a stand.
I don't think there are movies like this.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Listen, again, it's for me, and not to take away from the grade you're about to give, but like, yeah, definitely for me it was, it's about honesty. They were honest about how stupid they were. I would have given this a way lesser grade if they tried to sell me on something more scientifically accurate or like more romantic, but no, they were making a big, beefy meatball and they threw that at me. And so...
It's almost as if they know that they don't know.
Mamma mia, you passed on the skin of your ass, boys.
They know they don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
You get a sense of that. I would say I would give this movie, like a 40. You know, it's like, you know, I think so much of a popcorn movie. It does have that value to it, but we said it all. I would give it. So plus 40 divided by 3. Nope.
110%.
Nope, that is wrong.
That's the Michael Bay point.
That's the Michael Bay guarantee.
That's what Michael Bay would give it.
Yeah.
32 plus, what did I give it? 40? So divide that by 3 and you get a 45.
That sounds about right.
That makes sense.
That sounds about right. Because it's up there enough that, like, it's up there enough that it's stupid and watchable, and there's some merits to it.
I think a lot of movies in that range of percentages are movies that are like, this is like not like a well done movie, but it will have its audience, and it does have some redeeming values. But it is like not ideal.
This movie is not a catastrophe. It's just like a bad book report written in crayon. It's like not a. It's not
the night before.
The night before.
By 9 people.
Yeah. No, 9 friends got together, including my best friend JJ Abrams came in. And
you know what's so funny? You mentioned that J.J. Abrams contributed to the writing of this movie. I feel like every year I lose more and more respect for J.J. Abrams. Like, he did that, he did this. Oh man, just downhill with that guy. I'm ashamed of my fellow JJ.
I gotta get. Is he also a Joseph though?
Good question. But
he's a Jamiroquai.
Yeah, he's a James Joyce.
James
Jamiroquai Focaccio. I took away JJ's real name. I'm so sorry.
That is not it to the people out there. And also, I just want to say I hold other JJs to very high standards. All right, well,
can you name another JJ real quick? I didn't mean to cut off your.
J.J. Watt, the football player.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think I've actually ever met another J.J. I think it's like Time Cop. You push us into each other, and then we like morph into
in the other dimensions. There are DJs, CJs, FJs,
RJs,
RJs. Like we're in the J dimension.
We're in the JJ dimension.
All right, that's the best one of them all. So I will officially decree that we are siding with the critics. So, thank you, Dan, for joining us on the discussion.
It was a pleasure and a half to be here, guys. Thank you so much. I'd love to be back. This was so much fun.
Opening our season with us.
It's a pleasure to do it, guys. I'm so excited for more shows.
We would love to have you back, and who knows, when we have our season debate, we'll keep you in mind.
Oh, I love it.
So, thank you for joining us for our second season, guys. We have more Divided Films along the way, so please stay tuned. Thanks a lot.